extremely grateful to you for asking me to come and speak tonight. I've learned a very great deal, as I thought I would. I've been re-inspired in the hope that we can do it. And what we are doing tonight is part of a national educational programme which has got to go on until the political situation changes. I say an educational change because, you see, if you look at what the government is doing, the things they are cutting, what they call public expenditure. Now, public expenditure is expenditure that people have voted for in the polling station. They vote for pensions, they vote for the health service, and the thing about the vote is that it transfers power from the marketplace, where everything is decided by money, from the marketplace to the polling station. And that is the thing the government have always disliked. And if you go back, they didn't want women to have the vote, they didn't want working men to have the vote, they didn't want trade unions to exist at all. And what they're doing is reopening battles we have fought and won over many centuries, and we have to understand our job now in that context, against that background. Now, of course, it's obvious that if we look at the world, that other countries are experiencing a similar problem. For example, in Greece, the people of Greece have had a government imposed on them by the bankers and told that they've got to apply austerity without even the consent of the Greek Parliament. They just got to do it. And that raises huge democratic questions. Or if we look at Egypt today, they just had an election to the president, but the military have cancelled the election to the parliament because the military want to run things in Egypt. And all over the world, wherever you look, the issue is one of democratic rights, and that is what underpins everything we do. Now, if you look at the effect of the cuts that are being made, they're very profound indeed. I mean, pensions being mentioned, and if you talk to pensioners, you find younger people are asked to pay more for their pension and to get less at a later date, and that cuts the rights of pensioners. If you then take people on benefit, unemployed people, that's threatened, and then if they have no benefit, then they really are driven to total poverty. And wherever you look, you see that these policies are eroding standards of living which over many centuries we've built up by our own efforts, and they were by our own efforts. You mustn't think that every campaign we fought in had been a success. I was thinking of the miners' strike. I was a member for a mining constituency, and when the government decided to make war on the miners and close the pits, the miners fought like tigers to save their jobs. And they didn't win, but the courage they showed inspires us today. And the women who supported the miners, the women's support groups, were phenomenally courageous. I remember a delegation of Liverpool shop stewards coming to Chesterfield and saying, we are so proud of the women's support groups, and we say to ourselves, what's the difference between them and terrorists? And I wondered what they meant, and he said, well, you could negotiate with the terrorists. That's really what summed up the terrorists at that particular time. And so now we have to put this argument into the public domain, and that means it means having meetings like this, it means publishing books and pamphlets and newspaper articles, and gradually get across to people what has to be done. And I have no doubt whatever, and this optimism has spread from earlier speakers, I've no doubt whatever that it can be done, because the British people are decent people, and I don't think they want to be driven back to a situation where everyone fought for their own life and wealth determined your prospects in life, and if you didn't have it, there was nothing for you that you would expect. So what we're offering people is hope, and we're offering them the experience that shows it can be won, and we're offering them the support, if they tackle it, that we can give them. And that's the most important thing of all, because when there's a strike, the press turns on the strikers as if somehow people are yearning to go on strike. Well, to go on strike, you don't get any pay. And who wants to go on strike unless you're driven to it by circumstances? So when people are on strike, then we must support them and back them and escalate it with other strikes to campaign for what we need. So anyway, that's all I wanted to say. It's been a wonderful evening. I hope you've been as encouraged by it as I have. But at my age, I'm 87, so I'm a little bit older than many of you. I'm more encouraged to go into the battle now than at any time in my life, because I realise what the state is.